U.S. Navy's former Wasp-class amphibious assault ship, USS Bonhomme Richard, was seen being taken under tow yesterday, headed from Naval Base San Diego, California, to its eventual destination, the International Shipbreaking Limited facility in Brownsville on the Texas coast. Viewers may note that on July 12th, fire erupted on USS Bonhomme Richard, LHD-6. The U.S. Navy decided to scrap the amphibious assault ship and bid an official farewell to the warship in a ceremony in San Diego on April 14th. The official release highlighted some of the major missions that Bonhomme Richard took part, which included Operation Stabilize in 2000, Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how U.S. Navy has lost an important platform without any enemy action. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. USS Bonhomme Richard has a displacement of 40,532 long tons and has a length of 844 feet, that's 257 meters. The propulsion system develops 70,000 shaft horsepower, that's 52 megawatts, powering the ship to speeds in excess of 22 knots, or 41 kilometers per hour, which is 25 miles per hour. The amphibious assault ship has a crew of over 1,000 officers and sailors and can embark around 2,200 Marines, smaller amphibious assault crafts, and around 31 aircraft, AV-8B Harrier IIs, MH-60S Nighthawk helicopters, AH-1Z Viper helicopters, and MV-22 Osprey tilt-rotor aircraft. As per reports, the flames began in the lower vehicle storage area, but ravaged the island, the mast, and the flight deck as it burned its way through the inside of the big deck. Though the ship remained watertight throughout, about 60% of the ship was ruined in the 3 days it took for the firefighters to douse the flames. The island, mast, and flight deck suffered particularly heavy damage. A total of 63 sailors and civilian firefighters were injured in the incident. Rear Admiral Eric Verhage, the commander of Navy Regional Maintenance Center and the director of Surface Ship Maintenance and Modernization, told reporters in a phone call, "After thorough consideration, the Secretary of the Navy and the Chief of Naval Operations have decided to decommission the Bonhomme Richard due to the extensive damage sustained during that July fire. In the weeks and months since that fire, the Navy conducted a comprehensive material assessment to determine the best path forward for that ship and our Navy." As reported, 3 main options were considered. 1. Rebuild and restore the ship to its original function of moving Marines and their gear around for amphibious warfare. 2. Rebuild the ship to a new configuration for a new mission like a hospital ship. 3. Decommission and scrap the ship. Verhaeghe said restoring Bonhomme Richard to its original form would have cost between $2.5 billion and $3.2 billion and take 5 to 7 years. The cost of a brand new America-class assault ship, by contrast, is around $4 billion. Rebuilding the ship for a new purpose would have cost in excess of $1 billion and also taken about 5 to 7 years. Though cheaper than rebuilding to the original configuration, Verhaeghe said it would be cheaper to just design and build a new hospital ship from scratch. Decommissioning the ship and the inactivation harvesting of parts, towing and scrapping the hull will cost around $30 million and take just 9 to 12 months. He stated, "Examining those 3 courses of action, we reached the conclusion that we needed to decommission the platform." Verhaeghe said the comprehensive assessments looked at what would happen to the industrial base and new ship construction for the fleet if the Navy opted to rebuild Bonhomme Richard, and the price, not in dollars but in the burden on the industrial base, was too great to justify. Four investigations are taking place in parallel. The Naval Criminal Investigative Services (NCIS) criminal investigation, which now includes the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives (ATF), a command investigation led by Vice Admiral Scott Kahn, the commander of U.S. Third Fleet, a Naval Sea Systems Command Failure Review Board, which will look at safety, structural, and design issues related to the ship and how changes could have been made to prevent a fire from moving through the hull the way it did on Bonhomme Richard, and a NAVSEA Safety Investigation Board to examine the events that took place on the ship leading up to the fire compared to existing policies and procedures. The comprehensive investigations are likely to determine the root cause and circumstances that led to the unfortunate incident. U.S. Navy has revealed that it was looking into the possibility of arson. Wasp-class vessels, like USS Bonhomme Richard, are critical for amphibious assault operations. For example, during Operation Iraqi Freedom, she offloaded more than 1,000 Marines and gear from the 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, into Kuwait. Bonhomme Richard was close to the end of a maintenance period when the fire broke out. Importantly, among the work that had been done to the ship was a modernization of computers and other systems to support F-35B Joint Strike Fighter operations. The U.S. Navy spent about $250 million for an 18-month availability to upgrade Bonhomme Richard to support the F-35s. Verhaeghe said that work was clearly a loss for the Navy and Marine Corps. The loss of Bonhomme Richard reduced the Wasp-class to 7 vessels. The Wasp-class will be augmented by 2 newer America-class amphibious assault ships, with a 3rd USS Bougainville under construction. If we see the larger picture, it's a major setback since the U.S. Navy is trying to increase the number of warships as it faces a rapidly growing Chinese Navy. U.S. Navy is suffering from these mishaps quite regularly. USS Kearsarge and USS John F. Kennedy both faced fire incidents. It's paramount that the service reviews its safety protocols and standard operating procedures. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.